And good evening, one and all. I'm the Necroscope.
And I'm JPlay85.
It's a bit of a strange video. This is actually, well, all we're doing here is one thing. We're talking. What are we going to be talking about, Jay?
This is a talk show about Star Wars Galaxies, our first taste of a massive multiplayer online role-playing game.
Now, you probably heard both of us at various times mention this game, and I'm the first to say I miss it.
I do. I could cry sometimes at the splendor and beauty of this game.
Nothing will ever compare to this game, basically. You can play World of Warcraft, you can play any of the other MMOs that have come along since then, but
Nothing quite stands up to Star Wars Galaxies. Easily the best MMO ever.
now this is just a bit of an interesting pick. I mean, basically, Jay lost all of his, but I mean, Jay's impressed by it. He's admitted a few times. I've still got all the screenshots that I took from when we used to play the game. I mean, what year are we actually talking here, Jay? What year?
Was it 2003?
I'm trying to think, really.
I'm gonna Wikipedia that now because
We played together. That sounds a bit wrong, but we played together before the combat upgrade.
yes, it was in 2003. Now that's when we started playing. It's not long, I don't think, after the game came out. It was pretty much definitely 2003.
I think you could be right there.
And I think, did we play for about 3 years, maybe
Could
more?
have been about 3 years. Now, I think before we actually start off here, I'll have to say that initially, I believe I was an Imperial. I think you were as well at one point, Jay.
Well, I can't remember. You know what I started? Oh no, we started off as rebels.
I know I didn't start as a rebel. I know I didn't. Because I'm going to share my first story before we actually get into the actual pictures that I've got of the screenshots. We were both pretty noobish. A few of our kind of friends took us around and showed us the ropes to a basic level. But for me, I met another player who was a Wookiee, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he took me on hunts of really powerful enemies, and got me tons of cool loot. And he was kind of he was really showing me the ropes. And the interesting thing was he was an Imperial, so I thought, fine, I'll join the Imperials. Did that. I wanted to be a rebel. I'm not kidding you, folks. I eventually joined the rebels, and I eventually actually clashed with this old master guy on battlegrounds across the game in PvP. So it really did become a bit of a master versus apprentice type thing. And in the end, I was victorious, I shall just point out. Jay and me were allied for quite a while, but I eventually joined a guild called Sunfall, which is a very famous rebel guild on our server, which was Euro Chimera.
That's the one, Euro Chimera.
And I joined Sunfall, and they were a brilliant guild. They've actually very, very recently, I don't know if you won't know this, Jay, they've actually quit SWG finally, after 10 years. Are you there?
I am, yeah.
You're just going quiet.
It's just sad to think.
It is. I
SWG,
mean,
I've-
they
SWG
tried to keep things going through the combat upgrade. They tried to keep everything going, but
trouble
unfortunately,
is, well, like,
it just wasn't. They couldn't. It was too difficult.
it,
So I just want to say, rest in peace, Sunfall. Brilliant guild. Taught me lots of things. I made a lot of friends through there. They did move over to WoW, World of Warcraft, and I've got a character in their guild on World of Warcraft, but Star Wars Galaxies is where it began.
different people though, different
It
times.
is. It was different.
I mean, my last guild in World of Warcraft was Sunfall as well, but I knew different people to you.
How was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in Sunfall
I mean,
for a
Jay
bit.
was always. He kind of. I mean, the interesting thing about me and Jay was that we did actually have a massive fallout in real life due to Star Wars Galaxies. We didn't talk for about 6 months, I wouldn't say. Something like. Not properly, anyway. And it all came from the fact that Jay joined a pretty well known Imperial guild, and obviously I was in Sunfall. And in the PvP,
Well, it was
Jay's
war.
guild used to try and raid Sunfall quite a lot, and I was obviously a PvPer. People don't know what that is. That's player versus player. I was a player versus player person. And yeah, basically our guilds clashed quite a lot. Not on a small scale, I would say either, Jay.
Oh no. I mean, going back. In fact, no. We should probably just talk through the photos because we could reminisce on
That's
this
a good
photo
point.
for
All right.
absolutely ages.
So this one, as you can see, this is a image. This isn't from this isn't me. This isn't Jay. This is an image that I've always kept for quite a while. Basically, the big thing was that the Jedi's in this game. The Jedi in this game always thought of themselves as being above everybody else. I'm sure you'll agree, Jay.
Indeed.
I was, and Jay will agree on this. I was a. I'm not going to pull any punches. I was a renowned Jedi jeweler, and I never lost to one Jedi in a fight. Not once did I lose to a Jedi. I was a Terrace Cassie master with other skills involved. I was also a pikeman, so I actually had basically damage over time abilities as well. I was renowned for having some of the rarest pike weapons on the server. They had a nasty dot on them called Mind Fire. Do you remember that, Jay?
Mindfire, basically, yeah, it just kind of depleted your mind, which is your blue bar.
Because you have like red, which is your physical bar, green, which was action, was it?
Action bar, and then
Then there was mind. Now mind was, for most races, mind was the most difficult one to buff, but it was also the rarest thing for things to attack. They'd always go for your body mainly. But yeah, I was a Terrace Cassie master, and that's just kind of an interesting image of a Terrace Cassie master saying enlightenment and strength is not the exclusive domain of a recluse tower on Coruscant. I just think it's quite cool. This is a WoW image, which Jay will be like, what the hell? But this is, because Jay's got the delay. This is a WoW image from my days at level 60. I think it's kind of a funny one, because when I was PvPing in this game, you can actually see that I got, on that day before, I actually got 1337 honourable kills, i.e. elite kills. I had that, kept that for ages.
and my god, your UI's crap.
I love it, that one. Now this was...
Oh,
Yeah, it's going back to it. You remember Jay's got the delay, so I have to wait for him to catch up. So here, you've got... This was basically our guild at one point. I don't think you were here for this one, Jay, so I might skip it. But basically, it was our guild known as Seed, based in Zanarkand. We didn't lead it. I led the PvP side of it, but our friend OEC Gareth actually led the casual side of the guild. And basically, this was us hunting Acklays. Do you remember Zanarkand?
Yeah, White Lion, Palfy.
Palfy.
OEC.
Wowickaby. I was always arguing with him in a friendly way.
I don't know Strider.
No, I don't remember Strider. I remember all the others. So another look through here. So this was, I think we're on to the actual Jedi images now. I'm just going to go through these quick because I've actually shown these previously. So Amrix, he was probably, I would say, the best Jedi on the server. And Jay was here for this. I actually had almost an hour-long duel with him because neither of us wanted to give up.
And FYI, folks, SMB was my guild when I turned Imperial.
It was. But do you remember that duel, Jay?
I think I was there for some of it.
You were questing, but you kept coming back and seeing us still fighting. But eventually, I incapacitated him, and so I won, which is pretty damn impressive if you ask me, because he was easily the best on the server, easily. This was Barid Badar, who was quite well known. Do you remember him, Jay?
Barid Badar. Out of force. What, did he do a runner then?
Did a runner, yeah. If they run out of force, Jedis usually run away, basically. Harry Jim's here. I haven't seen you for a while. Time to get you banned. If he's in the is he still here?
Why are you banning Harry Jim?
He's a known troll, basically. He always comes in, tries to troll. Yes, yeah, Barrid. That was another kill I got on him. We also have just a me taking. These aren't that interesting, to be honest. It's me
I know
taking
that
out.
Trev. See, I know most of the people, like by
Well,
name.
you would have done, wouldn't you?
Byron Reagan.
This was a funny image that Jay'll recognise. This was just after. This was me in Coronet, which is the most busiest spaceport on the damn planet, just
You
after
could
the
not
combat
move
upgrade.
in that.
So this was just after, you know,
After the developers ruined the game.
they did, basically. This is what happened. People just left. People just left.
The game just got.
This isn't me.
Move on.
This isn't me. This is basically when a guy. There was something called a city ban that the mayor of the town could put on. Because the one thing we haven't explained is that in this game you built your own towns. It was player made. To actually build some of the things you need, you had to go looking through the whole planet and actually dig up resources. You could actually get machines that would dig them up if you could build them. You were better at this than me, Jay. I never did much of it.
Oh, I made some of the best stuff in the. Well, at points, because it depends what resources you had. But you could make. I used to make buffs for doctors, and some of the quality stuff I made at one point were the best on the server. Didn't last long because resources were always improving.
Well, I mean, what we've got really, I suppose, is
CSR Daniel G.
that was an actual customer service rep who entered into a city and was city banned, meaning he became targetable by all the city people, which was kind of funny. So a customer service rep got attacked by a guild. It's just kind of a funny image of Darth Vader. Now, for people who know the game, you'll know for leveling up, you had to repeat some similar missions ridiculous amounts of times.
Oh, the Sharnath missions on.
Sharnaths were things you had to kill
Corellia.
repeatedly.
These things.
But these were like
Quenkers.
Quenkers, and you just had to kill them constantly to level up. That was Darth Vader doing it. Only 64,523,412 more Quenkers, and then I will be the master, which I think is quite cool.
Bit of a random thing, but hey ho.
Now this was inside of the Sunfall Cantina. Now Jay might recognise a few names here, because there's also some people from JC, the Jedi Council.
Yeah, I know Dice and he's in JC.
So you've got that. I mean, this was me incapacitating Desizen, basically. He ended the duel because he ran out of force. Me incapacitating. I'm just going to flick through these. This was me incapacitating Dolmino Lagerus, a Jedi Knight.
Is that Sunfall?
It's outside Sunfall. Well, outside the
Sunfall.
Guild Hall.
Random WoW picture in there.
Well, random WoW picture. This guy called Hortash. Me and him had a massive, massive rivalry. A massive rivalry in Star Wars Galaxies, and we actually took it over to WoW as well. This was the time when he travelled all the way from Orgrimmar to just outside Ironforge, basically because we wanted to have it out once and for all. And you can see that I just beat him in a duel, and it was easily one of my proudest moments in WoW, easily, because he was honestly, he was an amazing hunter. He really was.
You were rich there with 58 gold as well.
I was. Back in the day.
58 gold.
That was me incapacitating Forath. She was from SMB.
Oh, there I am.
And Jay's in the background there.
JRK.
JRK. Oh, then we've got to explain. The RK after our name stood for Rhodian Knights, because we were both Rhodians, basically.
And from that was from our days on Jedi Knight Academy.
It was. Right, you've got here a what were they? They were called Gorax, weren't they, them? Massive things.
Were they on lock?
They were on lock. That was just this you didn't know these guys. Basically with that particular one. Hold on. With that particular one, that was a few of my friends I used to go questing with. You didn't know any of them, Jay.
No,
We
I
were
don't
kind of
know.
like a little posse type thing. Right, that's just more of us. Now, I don't think Jay's there either. Oh, no. No, you're not there, Jay. That's just more hunting of Gorax. That'll mean incapacitating Griffin, one of my good friends. Now, interesting story about Jay won't like this one because it basically makes SMB look crap. But at one point, SMB attacked Sunfall. 3 fully buffed Dark Jedi Knights. I was unbuffed, but remember, I had some amazingly powerful dots. Griffin, who was another Jedi, he was buffed. He was the only one who was buffed. Me and him, with my just like spamming dots left, right, and centre, we basically managed to chase out 3 fully buffed Dark Jedi Knights and incapacitate all but one of them and kill 2. That was an SMB attack that we thwarted, and we laughed at you guys so much.
Wasn't that against my friends?
No, that was another time.
All right.
You
Who
can
was
tell
that
that one if you
against?
want.
Who was that against?
That was... I can't remember now, Jay. But either way, Jay attacked with 2 of his Jedi Knights. He was coming for me, basically. And to be fair, they did kill me in the end. But unbuffed, I managed to incapacitate Jay. And if it hadn't been for his 2 Jedi mates who ganked me, I would have killed him when he was fully buffed, which would have really hurt Jay's feelings. That was when we'd fallen out.
I was well protected then. I made some good Jedi friends.
This was me taking out Heagle, because he ran out of force.
I don't know any of them people.
I remember this one, Jay. You were here for this. You're right next to me.
Oh yeah, I'm the Blades Master in the background, the little Rhodian head.
So on this one,
Oh, Lostra. I remember the name.
basically it was a Dark Jedi Knight, and it was when they were quite rare. We had a duel in the middle of the spaceport, and I won and killed him because I didn't like him. So there was that. That's me just killing an idiot. Hobo Grass, he was a horrible guy. He was really, really rude and quite racist. Me incapacitating Kaiser, who was a good friend of mine, and he was always really cocky and thinking that he could beat me in a duel. He never did. That was me taking on Kai Plague Pakern, and did you end out of force? Yep, they ended because they had run out of force powers. That's one of your friends, Jay. Kaio.
Yeah, Kaya Katsumoto. Very good friend of mine.
That was me taking him out. Lighters, these are all just Jedi. I mean, I never lost to a Jedi, and I bet Jay'll back me up on that.
No, I remember Lighters. That's
Quite good he was, because he was from the... Because EZ was a PvP guild on the Rebel side.
yeah, that Lighters. God, I'm pretty sure he turned dark in the end.
He did, you're right. This is a picture of my old guild, Sunfall. You can see me in the middle there. I'm the little Rhodian. You can't really make it out very good on this picture. Let's see if I can zoom in, actually. That's me there. Just for the record. And this was my old guild, Sunfall. At a guild meet. That's just the same thing. This was Luthus, who didn't want... He was a real idiot, he were.
Luthus.
No point dueling. He got really annoyed because he couldn't beat me. I mean, you can see this is my HP up here, and it's all full. He's got all these dots on him, and he's losing HP quick, so they usually just end. Because the thing is, the Jedi took so much to unlock, and don't get me wrong, if they played it well, it was almost unbeatable. But my whole build was about putting these idiots down, because I hated the idea that there was a class that was more powerful than the vanilla classes, and that's why I made it my kind of thing to take them out.
In the early days, there wasn't really any Jedis about. There was like the odd few that had been unlocked, but it was so difficult to unlock Jedi. I don't even know how you did it.
The original days, it was random because you had to like do certain things, and then you just get a message saying you've unlocked your Jedi slot. This is Sharnath. You'll remember these, Jay.
The Sharnafs we just had to kill millions of Sharnafs.
That was to level up your things. Picture of old school Urichai with a ping of 2570, which isn't exactly great. Another picture of old school Urichai on WoW, my dwarf hunter. That's kind of a funny one of my friend kneeling down in front of CSR Kevin C when we found him and pretending he's giving him. We won't stay on that one.
Moving swiftly on.
We also have here, this is my alternate get-up. Now this wasn't my main armour, but this was kind of like my cool looking one, my kind of, me using a pike. That was one of my, a long vibro axe, that was. That was when I was classed as a foot soldier, and I was Imperial back in the day. Novalis, you'll know him, Jay. You're here actually in background
Yeah.
on it, in foreground, sorry. You can see your head on the right.
I'm pretty sure Novalis von Lux was like the leader of Jedi Council.
He was. So basically that was me taking out the leader of the Jedi Academy. Me taking out Olen, your friend.
Yeah, there I am.
Now you can see on Olen, he's like mind has got that massive black bar. That means that I'd set his head on fire basically, and he was significantly wounded. And I didn't really have that many wounds. That was my friend kissing the CSR when we found him, this SWG employee. Kissing him down there. That was another guy from EZ. Because he was whining that... Go on, Jay.
I remember that name.
He was whining, basically. That I was beating him.
Who was that Bothan Jedi?
Oh, you've got me now. I know what you mean. I know he switched sides more times than a lot of people. This was just a weird picture that was on the forums. Basically, I can't remember why I've got this one, but it was... Someone said if they paid him so much, he'd do this. I don't know. It was on our forums. The forums were really important to SWG back in the day.
1 million credits.
That was me taking out Quirolith Kipal, a Rhodian Jedi.
Rings a bell.
Me taking out Rycium. That was... Do you recognise that? That was right outside the cantina at Sunfall. Now you've got to remember, all these buildings, folks, have been built by the player base. You didn't purchase anything from vendors. So things started from nothing, didn't they, Jay?
Exactly. People had to farm the resources to make these buildings.
Amazing when you think back. That was just a close-up of me. Rich Eye Fodder win. Well, not always. Don't know why I have that picture. You've got to remember it was 10 years ago, you know. I was a bit weird back then. That's another one of me. In Sunfall, on Tatooine, with the two setting suns.
I love Tatooine. It was one of my favourite planets.
Now there was Sake getting taken out. Now she was an idiot. Always following me around, asking to try and drill me. Another close-up of me. This was an old team that I used to go... You never knew these ones, Jay. These were in an earlier video. These were basically just a few friends of mine that we all had the same kind of gear. And we just went around doing a bit of role-playing, really. Just like turning up, poning everything, then going away again.
Back in the day, role-playing.
Yeah, well, because we kind of had our... We didn't have it on here, but we all had like full Rebel armour and stuff. So when we put it on, it looked pretty sweet. Remember this picture, Jay? You should do.
Wasn't... Ah.
Do you remember this time? Because I do.
Wasn't he one of the first Jedis we ever saw?
He was the very first Jedi we ever saw.
Now this guy, we probably never saw him again because it was very rare that a Jedi would log on the character. Basically, you unlock your Jedi, do whatever you need to do to master your professions, then log off forever.
Yeah, because I mean the problem with it, at this point in the Jedi class, it had something called permadeath. Well, basically you could lose your character permanently. So people were really careful about playing the Jedi. They were powerful, don't get me wrong, but they could still get ganked pretty easily.
Quite easily. And the trouble was, so many bounty hunters will be chasing a few Jedi.
Absolutely.
That if you walked through a city, chances are if there's a few bounty hunters about, one of them's got your mission. So yeah, no Jedis basically.
That's not an interesting one. That was just an argument that we're going on that I've got pictures of.
Back in the day.
This was a funny one. This was inside my house, and I logged in to actually find that a mob had spawned inside and died while I was AFK. Not really sure how that happened, I'll be honest, but that's a weird one. That was the start of the Hero of Tatooine quest, which gave you a daily res, basically. It's okay. Cool. There he is, Jay.
That's
Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, Matt, our friend Matt, who one of the first people to show us around and stuff, really.
That was Ergogo Iteraso. Don't know why I've got a picture of him. Oh, I know why, because it was a rare Sith mod. Mod.
Mob.
Mod. Now that was me just in my. Oh, I think I know why.
Why am I showing us on Dantooine, Corellia, and Corellia?
I don't know really. I mean, this was actually a present Jay got me. This actual land speeder. That was a present for my birthday. Jay got me in game one year.
Expensive present them as well, from what I remember back at the
It
time.
was, yeah, but you were a businessman in a way. I wasn't really. I was a PvPer and jeweler. I mean, that's the thing in this game, folks. You could choose what you wanted to do. You could do PvE, which is fine, or you could be a businessman like Jay was, or you could be a fighter like I was. I made my money by hunting Night Sisters, who are basically force-sensitive witches, and I
On
sold all the kind of good loot they dropped. But it was
They was on
dangerous to hunt
Dathomir.
them because they were so powerful.
Yeah,
Did just
on the
pitch to the
planet of the
starport, not that
Rackars.
interesting. The ones that I'm just going to skip through some 'cause not that interesting. Oh, this was one that I liked because basically we've been trying to kill this guy and this Titanius came along and he was like almost like 10 hitting this thing before it went down when I was like taking 2 hours to kill it because he was using a power hammer which were very powerful.
I'm AFK over there. Go
Yeah,
back to that one.
yeah. Oh, you are, aren't you? I can see you.
My title is manager.
Weird. So that was me fighting Force Mystics, not that interesting. Fighting more Force Mystics.
Weak ones. I don't know why you screenshotted that. All these things were massive.
They were huge, weren't they? Malclock.
What were they? A Rory?
Close. Was it Rory? Was it Rory? I think it was actually.
Or was it Endor?
Oh, Jay, look, it's Drax.
Hey, Drax.
Now, very briefly, I was a bioengineer. I mean, I could actually have. I was basically, you have pets in it, and I actually had a bioengineered like wolf cat type thing called Drax, and honestly, that thing kicked ass. How many times did it tank for us? That thing.
Loads. I think. Oh, FYI, folks, I'm pretty sure I have a Drax on my World of Warcraft pets.
On your hunter.
Yeah, named after this dude.
Now, this was a funny one. This was me. People can see that saying I passed. At this point, I'd just passed all my GCSEs, so I don't know why I did that on a picture.
Loser.
Well, you can see my house in the background there.
Rishi, Master Pikeman, Packmaster.
Now, Jay was a noob. He couldn't do all that the different coloured writing, so I had to teach him that. That was JRK with his. Now, you see this kind of type Elderodian male. I did that whole bit, and he won't like 'cause he knows I've got the original file. I actually worked out how to do that whole bit of thing with like code and stuff, and it looked really good, as you can see. Took me ages, that.
That was all you had, really. You couldn't inspect other players like you can in World of Warcraft.
No, you can only see that. That was
let's-
mine, a bit different. That's quite a cool image, actually, because what I'm doing there is I'm actually doing the meditation that Terrascassi people have. So you can see there, that was when I was a Master Pikeman, I was a creature handler, and I was a Terrascassi artist, sorry. I wasn't a master at that point.
I don't think you could. You master two things?
You
I don't
could,
think I
yeah.
did.
It all depends how you built it. That's a bounty. Some of these aren't that interesting, it's just me. What? That's a picture of you, that. Talking to Thicky.
Ah, Thicky. Remember Thicky? I remember some of the rare paintings you could get. Some of the art and stuff you could collect in Star Wars Galaxies was worth millions and millions of credits. Absolute
That's Thicky.
madness.
Now that was
Rackball.
Jamming. Now Jamming was a bit of an idiot. Jamming was, I think he was Fight Clubbing Jay. I think. You might not remember him. He was kind of from Seed, kind of. You can see me there, standing next to some bull rancors. Tuscan Witch Doctor, some of the most difficult. I mean, they've got like, I can't remember how much it was, but they had like.
That wasn't the toughest. There was another one that had like stupid. Well, basically, if you fly over these things, they can one-hit kill an AV-21 land speeder, so and they cost millions, so you're screwed if you fly over one.
That could be the next one, actually, Jay. A Tuscan Executioner.
Oh yes, I think look at the stats on that thing. Kinetic protection of 85. Well, most of the damage was kinetic.
That was my inventory. Oh, that was when I just got the Mark of the Hero, for the record, which was the Hero of Tatooine final thing. See, there's some of these aren't that interesting. It's just me at various places. Me fighting. So that was kind of like a little animation almost. That was just another quest, I think.
Tell you what, if they rebuilt this game, like with modern technology and stuff, with the like old style of play. Oh, Sublashi.
Yeah, I was going to say Sublashi. Now he was amazing in one particular thing.
Sublashi, are you thinking of the Battle of City Dunes?
I am indeed.
Oh, what a fight! This guy basically single-handedly.
He held the Imperial line, basically.
Basically, yeah, he was running from base to base.
I mean, we need to set the scene there, Jay, to be honest. KDS, who were a massive Imperial guild, decided they were going to leave the server. So to kind of celebrate it, the rebels decided, right, we'll attack their... You know, we told them we were going to do it to make it more fun. That's how PvP worked, basically. We told them we were going to attack their home city. We did, and all the rebel guilds got together, and all the Imperial guilds got together. It must have been about 200 players on each side meeting in one area.
You could not move this day.
The lag was ridiculous, but I mean, what a fight, Jay. I mean, Jay's right though. Sublashi was basically their frontline defender. All he kept doing was like literally harassing the rebel troops, then retreating. And if you remember this, Jay, I ain't got many pictures of it, but all across, it was like it is epic when the way I describe it. It was an open battlefield with the city of Dunes, which is the Imperial stronghold, on one side, the rebel forces on the other, with like mobile command tents and stuff. And in the middle, all you could see was melee with the melee classes, and like riflemen on each side just firing across this huge expanse. You could see downed assets, you could see rebel soldiers running in from left, right, and centre. It was probably the most fun I've ever had.
I mean, me and Necro were like running round the city to try and sort of flank him, but
you were on the Imperial side, remember, Jay? Don't be getting mixed up.
Not at this time, I wasn't.
You were, because we actually bumped into each other.
I was in the Jedi Council at this point.
I don't think you were, Jay.
I'm sure, because there was a gathering.
You were.
The Jedi Council.
You were not. You were not. Because we actually nearly met each other.
There could have been a few battles then.
Oh, there were. There's other big ones that we've had, but that was the main one. Cosmos was another dark side force master, very powerful.
He was a decent Jedi. Don't know him very well.
Now me killing basically lots of Geonosians.
Where the hell am I? 257 meters away. One Necro's in the thick of it.
Thing is, I'm surviving though.
That was
a weird one. That was a Clicknick Queen which had escaped from somewhere, and we found it swimming randomly. It shouldn't have been out of the instance, but somehow it got out of it.
This is how buggy the game is.
Starship Terminal, not useful. Ah, Kimogilla. They were quite tough.
These things weren't the toughest things in the game, but there was, these had some rare pearls on, from what I can remember.
They did indeed.
Oh, no, it was crystals for these guys.
This is us fighting one. You can see the size of it. And you can see at the forefront there, I'm sort of meleeing with it because I was a fencer at that time. And we have my pet Drax tanking it. And we have Jay. I think at this point you were levelling up Pistolier, Jay, so we were tanking it for you.
Pistoliers were good if you had the right weapons.
Well, they weren't that great, but the defense tree they had. Even I had the defense tree of Pistolier because it was brilliant.
Just picture the scene, folks. Open expanse, just me and Necro.
Just finding this thing walking. I mean, we were hunting him, admittedly.
But like the expanse. I mean, it took 15, 20 minutes to get from one side of the planet to another on a speeder. These were big planets, and there was about 10 of them.
I mean, I skipped past that next two images because it was me swearing, and I did swear back then. It was 10 years ago. That was me taking a funny picture, saying move Drax because he got in the way. That's quite a good one. Me and Jay. Novice Pistolier. Me as a Blade Master.
Melee and ranged.
Kind of a cool one, seeing how big that Kimola Gear dragon was before we killed it. That was me
Wow.
with a buggy land speeder, firing straight up. Don't know what happened there.
There were so many. It was full of bugs with this game.
Some of
But
these out there. Oh, that was quite an interesting time. This was when I actually got... No, I didn't want to be a Jedi, but if you completed certain quests, you could become Force sensitive, meaning you could increase your skills, but you wouldn't be a Jedi. You could go the full hog and be a Jedi, but I didn't want to. So what I did was I leveled up. I was unlike a lot of other people, and I actually leveled up just to become an amazing melee fighter. This was the time when my Force sensitive master person contacted me. It was from there that I started. Yeah, I have got slow mode on at the moment, folks. Me fighting dirty stormtroopers.
Stormies.
Inside my house, that's only one picture. That's me looking out of my crate dragon skull that I've got had in the corner of my room.
Did you take any shots of crate dragons?
I wasn't a massive hunter, you know, to be honest, of crates.
I got some rare pearls. I mean,
Ooh, this is a
absolutely
rare one.
millions.
This was a rare one, Jay. You weren't here for this, but this was when a Dark Jedi Master mob spawned an outpost with like 3 million HP. The devs were brilliant, and they used to kind of try and screw you over. They'd like spawn random mobs left, right, and centre. This was one. The whole base had to attack this guy, and he killed loads. I mean, look, you can see corpses lying around on these next few pictures.
These things are impossible.
I mean, look, you can see how many people like charged into battle with it. I mean, look at that. Look at the corpses just lying around. I mean, I was all right with him because remember, I was a melee fighter, but that was the second one that attacked. That one was a bit easier because we actually had a few Jedi's on our side helping. We've got more than one actually there helping. And that was what I was on about. Basically, because I was Force enhanced, I could have enhanced reflexes. So those are the things that I was working on. That's not interesting. Not interesting. Not interesting. That was my dueling chamber in my house. Basically, in Sunfall, there were whenever we wanted a duel tournament, it was usually in that house, in my basement. That was my basement, and there were people sit on the side waiting for their go. Sorry, you never came to that though, did you, Jay?
Don't think so, no.
But that was where it was.
I was probably Imperial at the time.
Could have been. That was a buggy quest thing when the thing was actually swimming on top of the water. Kind of weird. That's just me fighting a marauder. Me and my mates again. Lycanth, you'll know that one, Jay?
Yeah, I know Lycanth. Rings a bell.
No, I'm sorry, Gon, I'm leaving slow mode on for the record. I just prefer it that way nowadays. That was a weird one, just a corpse of Lisa. Random person that I killed. That was my alt, Rihanna, funnily enough, before Rihanna actually became, popular. Really, really weird character I found called A-Ass, which I always thought were funny.
A meat lump buffoon.
A meat lump buffoon called A-Ass.
The develop.
That was my alt again.
K.
That was me getting married to Rihanna. Oh, it was Rihanna, not Rihanna. That's a weird one. I don't know what that was about. That was a cool picture of me. That was when I was... now, I look like I'm wielding a baton. It's actually like a stun baton. Very powerful because it was unblockable, you see. Stun and lightsaber were two of the worst things to try and block against.
Lightsabers were brilliant.
That's just... You weren't there for that, Jay. That was me and my guild fighting in the... what was that area called, Jay, where you fought the Ackley? Was it the Geo Caves?
No, was it? Oh, that was... no, the Geo Caves were the... the Geonosians, weren't they? That was on Endor.
It wasn't. Geo wasn't on Endor. I think it was here, because I know these were in here, and I can't think what else there was, though. Oh, that was a. I don't know if that was my house actually. Oh, I know. This was actually my. This was actually my shop. I had a vendor in the next room. Didn't use it that often, this, but this was base. I mean, what you got to remember, folks, is that you actually decorated these yourself. You had to meticulously place everything with like console commands. Big pain.
It was fun though. I
It
mean,
was
like you
fun,
see
but
it
it was a big pain.
over there, like on the right hand side, where you've got like weapons and stuff on the wall.
That took ages. Oh, but it was worth it in the long run. That was just a rare suit of full bounty hunter armor. Very rare. Not many people completed that
Oh
set.
no, you couldn't get that. Not unless that was the Mandalorian armor one.
No, the Mandalorian will be coming up in a minute. There's an interesting one. This is our main characters and our alt characters. So you had obviously me, Riche, and Rianta, and you had Janae, who was a doctor, I believe, or was training to be a doctor, so she could buff us all. And my alt was a dancer, so she could buff our minds, basically,
Basically, between us, we could get all the buffs. Well, could get buffed up.
without needing anybody else, basically. So we were self-sufficient for quests and stuff. Some cool ones here. I know these images. This is me using my Terrascassi Fists of Iron on these things. It's kind of a cool image. You see, because I was a Terrascassi master, I didn't really need to wear armor as much because they were kind of like a Jedi, and Terrascassi is very similar to Jedi, where the Jedi actually look at the Force around them and adapt it to their needs. The Terrascassi, it's kind of like it's an internal force, so it's like I don't know. They channel their internal energies, if you know what I mean. So they could really take each other on.
Terrascassi, first profession for me, that one.
Just weird images there. It's kind of a cool close-up. That was in the Geo Caves again, fighting Droideckers and Clicknicks and Geonosians.
Where were the Geo Caves?
Was it? It wasn't Locke, was it?
No.
It wasn't Endor, I know that much. Oh, this was an interesting one. Now, Montolio de Bruche was... I mean, I was a pikeman, as I say. Now, I could do some serious damage as a pikeman. There's no two ways about it. But this guy had a... It wasn't as powerful as the most powerful weapon on our server, which was a power hammer, which had a max damage of like 80k or something. It was a glitch.
Who had that hammer?
Oh, you've got me now.
A guy called Banker.
Banker, of course.
Banker's hammer. It was legendary on the server.
Yeah, I can't think if it was at 8k or 80k, but even if it was 8k, it was still ridiculously overpowered. You could like two hit somebody.
It was literally the most powerful weapon in the game.
And this guy was similar. Cool. As he had one of the most famous, but by no means as powerful as that weapon, but he had a similar one in that it had like a top damage of about 3k for a long vibro axe. Mine was a decent vibro axe, but it only had a top damage of like 800. So you can see the kind of...
It might have been on Yavin 4.
Yes, it was.
It was. 4, yeah.
That was just fighting a Sith Shadow Taskmaster.
With a gun.
Me fighting our friend Matt on his Jedi.
Isotek.
Basically, he said, just go easy on me because I'm still leveling. I kicked his ass, basically.
Nice guy.
That's not interesting. That's just looking at resources, basically, folks. So you can see that was what you had to find. That was Camiris iron.
So many different types of irons.
I mean, you can see there, just from that, all those statistics, I mean, Joe will tell you more, but all those statistics led into, when you're like making some armour or a gun, depending on all those statistics, some made a really good gun, some made a really bad one, so you really had to look closely for your type of, what you really need.
It depends as well what you were making, because different things, like buffs needed better of a particular stat.
Yeah.
And then others didn't matter so much. So, like, you see the one there that's the shock resistance 996.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing you need for, like, a stun block.
I mean, those are the things I never got. I was never much of a crafter, to be quite honest with you.
God, it was...
that was a battle at... That wasn't a massive battle. It was a Rebel versus Imperial engagement where there was... I think it was near Cetra's Des Dunes, but it wasn't inside. I think it was a lead up to it, that. So that was just us fighting against Imperial scum. You can see all the stormtroopers dead at my feet. Fighting spiders. Bayonara, do you remember him, Jay?
Yes, I remember the name. These badges things came out at a later point. They're basically like achievements, I suppose.
Yeah, he was a. I knew him a bit. That's just a force character. Oh, that was a bugged. Well, you can see that was a bugged stormtrooper just flying in the air there. Not that interesting. That was me bugged outside of the actual playable area. I'd got locked in there. That was my friend Matt, our friend Matt, sorry, who got killed while we were AFK. Then I started mouthing off, and another bugged stormtrooper. The sun's rising on Tatooine.
Ah, Tatooine were a nice city.
And that was my alternate house, basically. That was when I was PvPing. Because what happened was, there was a small town on Tatooine called Bestine. Bestine was always attacked by Imperials, so I have a little house near there that had supplies for PvP and stuff, so I could just quickly get there, tool up, and go out, basically.
Bestine. I remember after they changed it to the combat upgrade, like the main city was changed to Mos Eisley, but
It was.
all the time we played properly, it was Bestine, because that's where the PvP happened.
In this one, this was when the Jump to Lightspeed add-on started. This was basically it was a flight side to the game, and it wasn't actually that bad. I fairly much enjoyed it. That was on my yacht.
You had to get used to it, but
That was me in my first Y-wing. I liked my Y-wing.
now there was a spacecrafter or something.
There was. I mean, you look at some of the images there; they are really nice. That's Jay floating in the air. I know why though, because he just actually destroyed a store that we'd set up. It wasn't getting any footfall though, so we closed it in the end. So the visuals in space were really nice. That was a fight at... Oh yeah, that was when the Night Sisters randomly attacked Bestine.
I remember that. That was weird.
I'd say the devs were brilliant, weren't they? Because they put everything in. Oh, there's my first X-Wing. Oh yes.
I don't think neither of us really got into Jump to Lightspeed that much. I got into it a bit, but
I think some did, didn't they? I mean, I was just doing it for the title. 'Cause you like got a title something like if you got to one level, a certain level within the Rebel one, you got something like I can't think what it was. It's something like Storm Commando or something. I can't think what it was, but it was a cool title. I'm going through some of these. I mean, you get the idea, folks. I'm really happy I've still got these, and I'm loving the fact that this is going to be on YouTube. It's going to be remembered forever then. It's there, if you know what I mean.
this is history in the making. Gaming history. Real gaming history.
That was my X-Wing with the upgraded engines.
We used to do nothing but play this game.
We did. We did. That and go into town thinking we were cool. Now this was an interesting one. Now, this is how the role-playing element of the game really came in. What some of the big guilds was on the Rebel side, basically there was, I don't know why, but there was more Imperial players in space than Rebel. So what a few Rebel guilds did was join together and create the Black JEA, which was the name of the guild, the Black Jaya Fleet. And what they said was, they basically were constantly PvP tagged, so they were constantly attackable by enemy players who were also PvP tagged. And they basically joined together and just constantly harassed enemy PvPers in space. But the way they did it was they attacked en masse. So they role-played it by saying out of nowhere, and this is exactly how it was, folks. I'd be dogfighting with, some other player, and if our side was losing, out of nowhere, this random fleet would jump in and just suddenly start to help us against the Imperials, and it was such an epic feeling. I'm sure Jay can kind of relate to how it felt in this game.
No, I never played EVE Online. for the person asking in the chat. But yes, I remember. Asmodee?
That was my X-Wing with the flames on the side, which I think looks pretty cool. Look at that for an X-Wing, Jay.
Sexy.
Don't know who was that next to me. I don't think it were you, that, Jay.
No, it's not me. And it looks like a Jedi.
Yeah, it did a bit. These are just weird things that we found. Oh, that was me fighting a droideka.
You ever fight the super battle droids down in the
I
Death
did.
Watch
I've got a few
bunker?
pictures of it, because you're in some of them towards the end. So I'm just going to skip through a lot of these, folks, because you have seen very... I mean, you can look at them, and obviously if you want to look at him more close, please pause it. But it's just things you've seen before, really. Me, Julie, my friend, Woe. That's an interesting one. This is an instance. Basically, you were on a Rebel blockade runner or a Corellian corvette, depending on what you want to call it. That was a quest, wasn't it, Jay? Like a special...
Yeah, kind of like an instance, if I may.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the same, was it? But it was a similar idea.
Yeah, it wasn't like a separate... I don't think it was a separate... Was it a separate zone? I think it was.
I think it was, but I don't think in the same way. I think basically you could have multiple... Depending on how many were doing the quests, you could have multiple instances of it going on top of each other, but different, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually another zone. 'Cause I don't think at that point SWG had the capability to do that. We've seen that one before. That's just me on my yacht. There we go, that's overlooking an abandoned rebel base, that one. Me and Jay, meditating in the hills. Marvellous, that's when we were both duelists. That's quite a nice one, Jay, when it loads on your side.
Ah, yes.
A lot of these are the same, obviously, it's just me. Oh, we've had that one. That was me bugged, I couldn't actually get through the door. That was a battle at Bestine, where the Imperials attacked, and as I say, we were fighting them off.
Best team with the best place for battles.
You can see all the blooming, dead corpses around. Well, obviously, if it's a corpse, it's going to be dead, but you can see them all around us. Now, I think, Jay, we're coming up to that magical picture where the leader of that horrible Imperial Guild gave me some grief in the cantina, and then he challenged me to a death blow fight, and I got him, and he thought he was going to get me. Do you remember that?
What was his name?
It was something like something Galaxy, Green Galaxy.
Oh yes, wasn't he a rifleman?
Yeah, it was in Death-Eye. That was it.
I remember him. Yeah, he thought he was. I hated this guy as well.
And here it is, folks. This is the Battle of Cities des Dunes. Now, that's a brilliant picture. I'm glad I've got it. You can see me actually targeting Sublashi all the way across the other side of the area there.
He was basically an Imperial hero, that guy.
He is. Now, I've got a few of this fight. Now you can see that. Some idiot there was screaming, "Don't hurt me, please. I'm an 11 years old sick boy. I play SWG laying on bed in the hospital with a rare deadly illness. Please spare me." Kind of an idiot thing to say. But the only two pictures I have are those two, because it was actually crashing the server. And I'm not kidding you, that fight must have lasted... It's at least an 8-hour fight, I would say, Jay, from like the early skirmishes.
I mean, we got on at like 6 o'clock, guild started gathering, and then the fight took place about 8.
And it went on all through the night.
There was dogfights all out through the Galaxy up until the early hours.
I mean, the interesting thing was, like, Jay's raised a very good point there. What was amazing was that while me and Jay were on opposite sides, don't care what you say, Jay, you were on opposite sides at this point. We never actually clashed fully in this one, because it was such a huge battle, the chances would have been really small anyway. But this was some of the opening foray, and you can see on this one, if you look over on this side, now these land speeders were people charging into the battle. Eventually, on the actual whole battleground, were just destroyed vehicles, destroyed transports, as the battle just raged on. And what was even cooler was right above us, above Locke, which is the planet where this was going on, above us in like Jay just said, in space, there was two massive bloody Imperial fleet and a Rebel fleet dogfighting. So it was like, oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. That's how amazing it was.
This is what the devs did when. I mean, a lot of it stems from the forums.
It does.
SWG forums. They were really good.
That was when Jay got knocked out by me. How does that feel, Jay, reliving that one?
I can't remember that. But are we on the force sensitive area there?
Yeah, we are. We were training up our force sensitive skills. Jay
That
won't know
might-
this one. This is what Sunfall put on. This was like the Euro Chimera Awards. Some of these guys obviously went over to WoW. But basically, this is what you don't get on WoW. This whole community came together for some community awards that were put on by other players. And you can see her in one of the theatres. And this was the thing. There were huge theatres like this in towns that just weren't used unless the actual community put something on. Amazing, I think.
Look at that. I mean, just all the people actually got up on stage and made speeches.
They
and
did.
stuff.
Look, you can see here. So I was nominated in. I didn't win it. Honestly, I didn't. But I was nominated as best PvPer on server. I didn't win it. I think I ain't got any more of it, but basically Mojo Rain, who is a friend of mine in real life now, I've known him for years, he hosted it. He did all the kind of speech writing when he needed to. Amazing. Jay wasn't there for that. I think this is actually when you'd taken a brief break at one point. Amazing though. There you go, folks. That is look. I mean, we were even talking about it in the chat. Look, yeah, the GEA Black Fleet. Print screen. People are taking pictures of it because when it shows up, you know the rebels are going to win because they had like the best equipment for the ships ever. There you go. Look, more Black Fleet 1. Well, there you go. I've got more of this. See, Amrix, that's who won, Jay. Amrix won best PvPer on server, and that's him doing his speech.
This is the type of shit that just doesn't happen these days.
It just doesn't, does it? I mean,
MMO.
WoW has never had this community. It never has.
Mavericks was the leader once.
Look at that picture, Jay.
Wow.
Look, and to the people who are watching, look at how many people showed up for that.
There's how many people do you reckon's there? A couple of hundred.
I think we're probably. I wouldn't say. Well, you could be right, Jay. There probably is about 100, something like that. But Maverick's there. If you're watching Mav, because I know you have watched my channel a few times, Mav was the Sunfall when I was there. He was the Sunfall leader. Sunfall Rebels leader. So he was our guildmaster, lovely guy, and he was up there as well. Because it was in. The thing what was interesting about this was even though it was Imperial and Rebels, right? Because it was community based, this game, the community came together like that. I mean, how amazing is that?
Like I say, it just doesn't happen. Brilliant.
Look at that. I mean, we were at the end of it there, but for that bit. That was me dueling Jay next to the Jedi Council building and me kicking his bum. Someone drowning. Me running in the air. It's a nice image there of me on my land speeder, speeding through the area. Jokey Small, friend of mine. I just thought she looked weird. Me fighting Night Sisters. Night Sisters, as I say, were force-sensitive witches. You can see me fighting all these here.
You used to love soloing these.
They were tough though, Jay. Thankfully, because pikemen were brilliant at area attacks, that was their other thing, other than dots. They were very, very easy to... Well, they were easy, but I could solo them, just about.
See, nowadays we'd be on Skype and stuff while playing this, but back then we were just used to send tells all the time, which are like private messages.
The only thing was, Jay will remember this, Night Sister Elders were resistive versus certain types of damage. The only thing that could solo them, technically, easily, was a swordsman armed with a power hammer, because a power hammer broke through their defences. But there was one other way of doing it if you could do energy damage. Now, normally pikemen couldn't do it, but I spent about 8 million credits getting something called a Night Sister Energy Lance. I was the only pikeman on server who could ever solo a Night Sister Elder. It took me about 6 hours fighting it, but I did it.
What did you get out of that Necro?
I just got some crystals, and I probably only sold them for not even a fraction of 8 million, but it was for the fact that I could do it.
And spend 6 hours doing it. Mind you, I'd thought about. Mind you, I probably got about 10 crate dragons down in that much time. I made about 500 million.
That was kind of a bug you could get sometimes, like people, when things died around you, it all kind of, they landed in a pattern. It was really weird that I didn't always do it. That's just someone being rude to me. You are a small-minded, unliberated freak.
Told.
Geordie Pigeon owner said to me. That's me fighting Darksiders. Me fighting an Acolyte with Jay at my side. Jay was a Blade Master then. I think he was levelling up Terrascassi though. That was one of our first solo Acolyte kills, that.
I'm pretty sure there are about 30 different professions in this game.
That's Jay saying with a cocky accent, owned. Lol. We were children back then.
Back in the days.
And some of these obviously are massive amounts of repeats, but still interesting to see. Oh, you know, that I was lying, folks. This was after this combat upgrade. Because I literally shout, what the fuzz? This is Coronet. Now, back in the day, before the combat upgrade, I'm not, and Jay will agree, because he's been there,
Oh, yes.
you could not move out here for how many people. This was the hub of the whole game.
There
I
would
would
be
say there'd be about 100, 150 people out here, normally.
at all times. And I mean, there'd be about 10 doctors sat there charging for buffs.
Yeah.
10k to 15k.
That's me in my full rebel gear. Me kind of kneeling on top of OEC Sephiroth, who was our guild leader.
It had a
Me
nice
riding
little
him like
city.
a surfboard, which is kind of odd.
Our city down on thingy you can just see there on the left was actually called Zanarkand.
Yep. That's my Night Sister Energy Lance. You remember them, Jay? Very
I
rare
do,
weapons.
yeah.
Very few people actually had them. These are just all around. Oh, that was me. I became guild leader of D-Seed, which was basically the PvP wing of our guild. So we went and PvP'd against Imperials. We weren't ever the best one because I openly admit the other people in it were only kind of casual players. I was the only hardcore PvPer, but we still had fun, didn't we, Jay?
Yeah.
Me taking out Sake again. I didn't get on with Sake. Whenever I saw her, I always had to kick her ass. See, force finished. Lol. Rare, probably one of the rarest, can't even speak, rarest things I've ever seen. That a singing mountain clan, which are very similar to Night Sisters, but they're the good guys basically. They wouldn't just attack you on sight. A singing mountain clan Rancor tamer. They were very rare. That was Mojo Rain, good friend of mine. Not interesting. Me fighting Force Crystal Hunters. These are very powerful mods that used Force Choke, which could kill you in a few hits. That's someone dueling me and then giving up because he knew he couldn't beat. That are me killing Dogus de Terra, who was one of the... He played up to it, but he was probably one of the worst bounty hunters on server. He openly took the mick out of himself.
Noob. I was bounty hunter for a bit.
Ancient Bull Rancor. Now, Jedi's had to kill one of them as a ritual-like thing to become a Jedi Knight. Me fighting Rancors. Now this, let's see if Jay gets it. Where is this?
It looks like it's on the way to the village
Well done.
on Dathomir.
Do you want to explain that while I go through the next few pictures?
Well, basically, when a lot of people, there was uproar because everyone wanted to become a Jedi, so they introduced this village thing where you had to complete a series of quests, and it was basically a quest hub, but it was a massive quest hub.
And basically, the more you did it, the closer you got to being a Jedi. Now, I could have gone further, but I stopped when I'd got all those enhanced reflexes and stuff, because I just wanted to embarrass Jedis. I did that all over. Loads tried, none succeeded.
I became a Jedi Knight eventually.
I even remember SMBJ doing an open challenge on the forums, and I went there and beat everyone. That's how good. And I'm not being cocky. I was a brilliant Jedi fighter because I was built to fight Jedi. Don't get me wrong. I then took on one of SMB's combat medics, and they have ridiculously powerful poison. And basically, he took me out in about 20 seconds. So I openly admit, this game was good. It's similar, I suppose, to a lot of MMOs where certain classes counter others, but not many
Problem with
people
it.
went full Jedi killer like I did.
The problem with it is it's very unbalanced, which is why they brought out the combat upgrade. That
The
it
thing is,
wasn't.
it wasn't, Jay. I'm sorry, I don't agree with you there. I don't think the game was unbalanced. What they needed to do was they need to make the ranged classes balanced because they were rubbish. There was no point going ranged in this game because melee was far superior.
True story. But
This
there was
image anyway. This was at Christmas that I took it. This was a renowned dance group that went round and just like did dances at a few different starports, and you could tip them and stuff. You could tip anyone, but they were really like well known. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See, this was the thing, folks. This was it. This was the community side of it.
back in the day, me and Necro used to spend like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day,
It's
stuck
true.
on Star Wars Galaxies.
More bull rancors was there quite rare. It's me fighting again. I'm going to skip through them because you've seen it all before. Oh, that was someone giving me some hassle because you've used dots in a duel and I can't beat you. I wasn't that bothered, to be honest.
And they
Oh.
can't do good duels in a place like this.
I'm looking for that blooming. Oh, that was quite an interesting quest. Jedi's had to do that. They had to beat this guy called Melishai.
Oh, I remember that guy.
I can't think what it was for, but it was something. It was basically a PvE
That-
quest, but it was important. It was tough because I had to tank that guy, and he hits like a freight train. 'Cause he was a Dark Jedi.
Wasn't that guy something to do with the Force-sensitive quest line?
He could be. I honestly couldn't remember off the top of my head. That's someone who'd landed an X-wing there when you could do that. That was later on in the game. That. Me taking out another person in a duel, another duel defeat, another duel defeat for them. I mean, me winning again, me winning again.
He loves himself, folks.
Me winning again, winning again, winning again. Oh, this is kind of a fun one. Now, this is an interesting one. Now, this was me solo. I mean, I was only playing around. Now, remember, these were like Stormtrooper NPCs. They weren't players, meaning they were very weak. You could solo huge numbers of these. Now, I went to this base. I've talked about this one on streams before. I went to this base, attacked it, was killing all the Stormtroopers, which gave me something called a TEF, which means that I was temporarily attackable by other PvP players. It would fade after 15 minutes. So, I can't flick through. I was at this particular base, and I might actually have to. I'll have to go back to that. Just bear with me one moment, folks. Pausing recording.
Yeah, they brought out how many expansions?
Thanks, Jay, for talking just as I started recording again there. So you've got half for Jay saying something. Now, we'll actually have to show this bit a bit later, but trust me, there's an interesting story in this area. We'll have to keep going through for now, though. That's more hunting for... Again, Jay wasn't there for that. More hunting then.
Scorpius, I know that name.
Yeah, he was Doctor, wasn't he? I seem to recall. More hunting. Oh, that was another one. A giant dune Kimmel Gia. And that was when Jay had probably mastered his template at that point, and he was actually a fencer. But he was probably using Terrace Cassie abilities just to tank it for us.
Fencer Terrace Cassis, yeah.
Jay saying he's going to fall so easily. That's kind of cool. As I say, because I took loads of pictures, it kind of like... It's like an animation. Sorry, I'll stop that.
The can. And he's down.
I know, he was pretty good. That was Assay Afiol. Now, he was a really, really renowned good jeweler, and he gave up and said, you win, basically. That was random. I woke up in this Medi-Centre after I'd actually been killed myself, and I just woke up next to a dead person, which is kind of weird.
And a Kretel, it would seem.
Yeah, and a Kretel. Me killing more Night Sisters. Me hugging Hoog's Plains, one of my friends from the game. Me hugging him back. That's just in Zanarkand. Me. Now there's some cool images here. Now this is me basically using area attacks against 2 of these enhanced Quai, which are very, very powerful Raptor-type enemies. But you can see some of the animations. I mean, the animations and moves were fantastic, weren't they, Jay?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
You look
Repetitive,
at this,
but
you
brilliant.
can see my guy how he uses that long vibro axe. It's such. I mean, look how cool he looks. Oh, that brings back some memories.
Just pure epicness.
Oh, look at that one right through the face. Check that one.
Ouch.
Oh, straight in the camera. Brilliant images. I haven't looked through these for years.
Back in the day, we'll have probably recorded this.
Yeah, we would. Now look at that. 2 headshots straight on that enhanced Clicknick. I think we're coming. Yeah, we're probably about 2/3 of the way through here, folks. And a lot of these are going to be duplicates now. Because we're not far from the kind of end. Well, we're not far from when the combat upgrade. Can't speak. Upgrade came in.
Was it the combat upgrade that changed all the action bars?
No, that was the NGE.
Oh, basically, if the combat upgrade killed the game, there's no two ways about it. Half the people left.
Well, I mean, I left, and I mean, the NGE killed it even further. Basically, I mean, Jay knows more about it. Didn't they try and make it like WoW, basically?
Pretty much. Basically, the combat upgrade, they changed it and balanced it a bit. It wasn't good. It didn't go down well. People didn't like it. People left. The NGE came out. That was a fail. That was when the game was doomed. They changed it into World of Warcraft, as in they literally put talent tree in there.
Yeah.
They literally changed the bars at the bottom to.
It sucked, basically. I mean, the combat upgrade was bad enough, but that was just ugh.
I mean, they introduced global cooldowns and stuff like that.
This is an interesting image, just to interrupt. This was one of a rare mob, and because I didn't like Jedis, I was being a bit of a troll here. Basically, the Jedis this only spawned like once 8 hours, and I was lucky enough to find it. Jedis needed it to level up. I killed it, so not the nicest thing I've done. Me killing a giant spider. And now he's this is the one. Brilliant. Okay. Now this was me when I was killing all these, Imperials. Out of nowhere, I get attacked by a fully buffed Terrace Cassie Master from Sick, called Sick, from the PvP guild, Ang. He attacked me, started fighting me. Somebody else shows up, he calls in reinforcements, another fully buffed person. He starts fighting me. Now you'd think 2 against 1, you'd be killed in this game. Not me. This was probably another one of my proudest moments. Remember, I've also got stormtroopers respawning all around me, shooting at me randomly. Basically, I started using area attacks, and the thing about the pikemen was that the area attacks of a pikeman made a combatant dizzy. Meaning, if you could trip them, which some of our moves could, they really they struggled to get back up again. So then you could just wail on them while they were on the ground. Now you can see here, you've got to remember that I was also using my dot pole arms. Basically, I was putting mind fire on them, mind poison. You can see, if you see these 2 here, you can see how much they've got a black bar already and what I'm doing. I set the heads on fire, then I switch over to terrace. I set them on fire, with my pikes. Switch over to being a melee, a Terrace Cassie user. And with Terrace Cassie, you can target particular parts of the body. So I then switch to headshots. Now you can see that I've got them 2 on down on the floor here. They're constantly ticked on the dots. You can see the poison, you can see the fire, constantly ticking. But Onet 128, it hasn't actually ended yet. You can see they're nearly dead. I kill that one from Ombra. This guy from Sick is resisting a bit more. I think, I'm doing alright. I'm nearly going to get him. He gets back up again, and look how close I've got. Now you can just look at him. Here he is. This is Sick. Now Sick is here. He kind of runs away a bit, and out of nowhere, a 3rd guy shows up. Vipix from Tigray, another PvP guild. So he starts wailing on me, going for headshots on me, which is what I do because it's the weakest stat.
Necro has skills.
Now these two still trying to kill me here. Six still here. You can see here. Where's the one of Vipix? Yeah, look, I didn't take many pictures of Vipix because he was actually the weakest. But there you go. That was Vipix before he got killed. Well, sorry, just as he was killed. So just let me point out, 3 people attacked me. I've killed 2 so far. This guy called Sick was the first one who started this fight, right? He was hanging on. Now he gets up, just up to here. I've nearly got him, and then he uses something called Burst Run. Now he burst runs away as far as he can. I give chase, and I eventually catch him and kill him. I'm just going to lie back and let people take the epicness of that story in. Because even Jay will admit.
That is a cool story.
Considering that I've got the pictures to back it up as well. I would love to know what them people thought after it.
And you know what? Ang was a really famous, well, not famous, but, well, probably one of the most famous Imperial guilds for, like, renown for having decent players as well. So I'll give you credit for that.
It was an amazing, amazing kill. And I know I'm going about that I was a good PvPer because I was, but I was built for it. Jay was totally different. He was built for mainly PvE, but he was making a lot more money than me. So he was a manager, he had like shops and stuff, so it just shows how different the game could be for different people. That's not interesting, that's not interesting. That's me fighting my friend Woe. That's me fighting Woe again. Me fighting Woe again. And killing him constantly. That was more hunting of Galaxies. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all really. They were just like giant monkeys. Like Jay's mum. How is your mum, Jay?
She's fine, thank you.
Good. Is she there now?
She's right here.
Hi. Love you, babe. And that was the whole Seed Guild. Again, Jay wasn't here for that. Oddly. That was the title. If you became like a advanced rebel pilot, you could be a rebel elite corps, which I really liked. These are all basically the same thing, just repeats. That was when I got killed somehow. I don't know how. What killed me? An RSF security officer for some reason. Wonder why that killed me.
You've been messing about on Naboo.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. That was Limeale Raven, good friend of mine. Just more pictures of me. More hunting. You see, we are getting... You've gone through a lot of this. There's no point in me staying on lots of these. Just give you an idea of stuff, basically.
We used to go all over.
There's another cool one. Me and Jay in the Geonosis Caves, or Geo-Caves for short. Both as Blade Masters. That was quite a proud moment. Vendetta thought he could take me out, but he didn't, and failed in the end.
He was a duelist as well.
That was before an attack. That's just another duel. Another duel. That was kind of bad, actually. He was dueling this idiot called Hobo, I think it was. I never liked this guy called Hobo. He was basically a troll. And basically he was dueling people and killing them. Because you could duel, incapacitate them, and then end the duel. Which I used to do. I was quite an honourable dueler. Unless it was a Dark Jedi who I didn't like. And this was probably my least proud moment. You can see here Lostra. Now Lostra was that same Dark Jedi who I killed ages and ages ago. Basically, they attacked Bestine, and they went straight for me when they knew I was defending it. So I couldn't really do much. I'm good, but I couldn't take on 2 Jedis.
Bayonara and Lostra pwned Necro.
That's kind of a weird thing. When our server was down, a few of me and my mates had the idea to create characters on a different server and call them Bob. I don't know why. Our server was down for maintenance. That was one of those rare occasions when you actually find a SWG representative actually in game.
Very rare. Very rare there was one, actually.
I mean, well, yeah,
I
that's
think
a
I
good
had about
point.
5 employees sat in an office somewhere.
That's very true. See, these are all very similar.
I
He was
don't.
a good jeweller. Rye's son, Noah Vick. I was good mates with him.
Never had the amount of players that like WoW had though.
He died because unfortunately my mind fire killed him. That was me leveling up my second dancer. There you go, Dark Seed, Defenders of Xanarkand. Me with the graphical effect on my Energy Lance. That cost me 8 million. That was your Jedi, wasn't it, Jay? Zara?
Yep.
That was Jay's Jedi, who was, well, only a Padawan. I don't know how far you got with it.
Nah, not very far.
There it is. Oh, Jay, it's this story. You were here for this one.
Green Galaxy.
Story goes, Green Galaxy was the leader of a hugely popular and powerful, Imperial Guild, PvP. I think it, either way. They had PvP as within its ranks. I don't know if it was pure PvP. What happened was, I can't think how we fell out, but I saw him go past in the cantina and I did something like glare. As a semi-joke, basically, because, you know, I was Rebel, he was Imperial, we knew Defi, they were on Tatooine, we had a few fights with them in the past as being part of Sunfall. This guy started sending me tells saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do you in or something, Rich Eye." I said, "All right, then let's have a duel then." And he said, "Fine, let's have a death blow duel." Right, which means it's obviously it's exactly as it says. It's a bit different in that you have a duel, but whoever you've got to get the death blow or you don't win. Anyway, this idiot challenges me. Obviously, I get Jay to come along because Jay comes to buff me because I wasn't buffed at the time. You can see Jay's doctor here, thus, who gives buffs. Now, Jay was watching most of this fight, as was everybody in Bestine. This idiot brings along like half of his guild to watch, which I thought was kind of funny. He's absolutely convinced he's going to get me. He's absolutely convinced, mouthing off at me in tells, mouthing off in chat, all this kind of thing, that he's going to take me out. We duel, we go around Bestine. He actually does. He incapacitates me once. But Terrace Cassie Masters have something called... Can you remember what it was called, Jay? That thing where you can come back from incapacitate?
Oh, I can't remember, but yes, I remember the ability.
It was something like second chance or something, and you could basically be revived once. From a knockout, and mine worked perfectly. So I was back up and I was fighting again. He had the exact same ability. He did it. Now it has a chance to backfire. His backfired and basically blackbarred all of his stats. So he only had 100 HP when he should actually have about 3,000. So it worked for me. It went pear-shaped for him. And you can see there, Corpse of Green Galaxy. Basically, folks, I killed him. After all this kind of drama, it was quite an epic fight because he was a rifleman. He was like running around Bestine at range, so I had to keep closing and trying to trip him.
Proper tough for melee to kill ranged.
The only
Range was
good range class was rifleman because they could go for headshots constantly. And you can see he did get me there. You can see how low my and also he had dots as well. He was setting me on fire.
Gotta say, I mean, this Green Galaxy guy was the leader of this Defi guild. He was like a multi-millionaire, so he had like the best rifles and stuff.
Yep, you're right.
So I'll give you credit for that.
And you can see, look at all these people like who were following the duel. It was just funny as hell. I mean, it was just brilliant to see. Even Sublashi was there, Jay, and he saw it happen to his like guild master, which I think was fantastic. And you can see, I had the upper thing, and I just bowed to him at the end. He never sent me a tell again. But you can see on this image, which is really important, how it backfired. Look at his black bar there, Jay.
Yeah.
That's why it backfired. So I only had to hit him in the head a few more times, and he was down. It was brilliant. That was Jay's doctor. Me fighting a friend of mine. Not that interesting. Oh, I think... I don't know what that image was. That's when I think I was trying to level up... Dan Ree. That's interesting. It's an old friend of mine. Malachi again. They used to ask me to tank him because Terrace Cassie could tank him quite well. And we gank him and kill him.
Yeah, Malachi just appears anywhere, doesn't he? Because I
Yeah.
fought him on Corellia.
You have to like track him, don't you?
Oh, these are the super battle droids now. These things, I'm in there yet.
Yeah,
I'm
this
on
is
my...
it. Now this was kind of, this was when just before the excuse me, just before the combat upgrade. This was basically, these were the good times, weren't they, Jay? This was like top level PVE. This was the Deathwatch bunker, which was a bunker filled with toughest bosses in the game, toughest creatures in the game by far. You needed a raid to do it, and even we only got like down to like the second room. It was ridiculously tough, but it is where there's Mandalorians. That's the people of Boba Fett's armor, Jango Fett's armor. It was the last Mandalorian stronghold. Now we did try, as Jay will say, Jay's there healing. We didn't get very far.
We failed miserably. It was... I mean, to be honest, I don't think we was a real raiding guild as
We
such.
were. It was casual. I mean, we don't get me wrong. We got like at least into it. You can see us here fighting a Deathwatch Bloodguard.
Just the extent of like the end loot in this, if you can imagine, there's about 5-6 different floors. It's quite a big dungeon.
Yep. Yep.
When you get down to the bottom, you get to the last boss, you kill him, you get one part of a 10-piece armor set.
And you have to wait for him to respawn then, basically. And it could take like 24 hours. Now, with this image, which I think is interesting, you can just see that it was a fun time we were having. We weren't getting very far, but... And again, I'm not being cocky at all, but in relation to things like this, when we were part of Seed anyway, I think it's fair to say that I wasn't a guild master at all, but on stuff like this, I usually led the way because I usually had the best gear from the PvP side, and everyone else just kind of followed, which was a good feeling. It was a good feeling.
I was needed on my healer for this though, because
You
the
were?
guild was short on healers.
So this was, I believe, just after the combat upgrade, because one of my amazing vibro lances, all the weapons after the combat upgrade were changed. The statistics were changed for the worst. Basically, you can see it bugged out. I got a stat M polearm damage of 11. 11 damage when this thing used to like have a mindfire dot on it. They absolutely... What I'd taken years to get became worthless overnight. Honestly.
And that's why so many people left, because they'd spent hours and hours farming for this loot. Finally got it. To have it taken away again.
Yeah, that was my vendor. Looted dot weapons. That was just a bit of a fight. More fight. That was Sake again for the third time. You were there that time, Jay, on Thus. Hated Sake. That was me getting into an argument with two people because they couldn't. They were trying to kill the Night Sisters, but I was too quick for them, and they started kicking off at me. I really got into a big argument with them. See, I'm going to leave that one on because it's already gone up. I mean, you can read what this guy is saying. This Lord Tyrannoc Ragnus. They were just kids, basically. You know, they're being very rude, and I know it was only a game, of course. I couldn't give a damn what people thought because it was a game, but the people were just childish.
Some noobs in this game.
I think we're probably approaching the end now. Oh yeah, that was a funny one. I found a character called Orgy,
Orgy.
which I thought was quite good.
That was in the Night Sisters singing Mountain Clan Cave, wasn't it? On,
It wasn't
Dantooine.
actually. This was in... It wasn't. I can't think where it was, though. That was fighting a crate dragon, Jay. I was only helping him, though. I wasn't really doing much. Another crate dragon?
Now,
See, Jay could probably tell you more about them. I didn't really do much crate dragon hunting.
crate dragons were the rarest sort of enemy. There was in the north of Tatooine, and they were really tough enemies, massive amounts of HP, but inside the loot was like these crate pearls, which used to be primary in making a Jedi's lightsaber. And
Just to point out as well, Alkick got cocky with me here, so I duelled him and killed him mid PVE. But yeah, Jay's right. You killed crate dragons to get crystals for your lightsaber to power it.
there was worth millions and millions. It didn't always drop one. And to get the stats on it, you had to buy the pearl,
You
and
did?
then like you had to open it up. You had to do something with it. I can't remember what you had to do with it though.
Yeah, you had to get a Jedi to determine how powerful it was, didn't you?
Yeah, see its stats, and if it had like certain stats, it were worth a lot more.
See, we are getting towards the end now, because there's...
I remember them. God, there's so. I used to have a right extensive art collection. There was one collection, you know, like of them like black and white ones.
There was special ones, weren't there, there?
Yeah, I got all 9 of them.
There's an interesting one. This is a guild. Now, TK462. Now, that looks like, obviously like a stormtrooper, because they have TK whatever. But this was an actual role-playing guild that PvP'd as well, who had named all their characters TK46, you know, TK462, TK whatever, which I thought was kind of a cool little touch. So they could role-play as stormtroopers.
A lot of people partake in roleplay.
That me killing
Cantinas.
Dark Raven, friend of mine.
I was just gonna say, you ain't got many pictures in cantinas.
That was when the Imperial Stormtroopers begin to conduct a search on you. Now, I can tell you they probably died straight after, because they would have searched me and would have discovered I was a rebel. I don't know what. I don't think. I can't imagine that rebels carry a card that says I'm a rebel. But
If you like slap one,
yeah,
or
if you
do an
slapped one,
emotion
they
on it,
turn on you.
and then you get like instant death.
Killed that guy. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. We got theft because we were killing Imperials, and I was out with my guild. My 2 guild members died, but I fought on and killed the other ones that attacked us, which was kind of interesting. Scared of them. They were dark troopers. People know what dark troopers are.
I'm there now. I'm in that group, but
Very powerful. That's back in the backfighting super battle droids there. Jay's there as well, I believe. He's actually on JRK though today, so he's actually doing damage, not healing. That's an interesting one, Jay. We had Olin with us.
ah yes, Olan Lani, my friend from SMB.
Obviously, if he had a Jedi, there was nothing in the game apart from shield generators that resisted lightsaber damage. So it was really useful to
It
actually
was
have.
amazing DPS, but there's one of the Mandalorian guys.
It's not. You're close, but it's not. You're thinking of that one, the Black Sun Guard.
Uh,
Oh no, hold on. You might, no. I know what you mean. It's not. You're close, but not exactly. We've been in here before. Been in here before. Nothing interesting. Oh yeah, this was now this was an interesting one. This is when we were fighting a Night Sister Elder. Jay was here. We could actually see what weapon she was using. And you could see she had a weapon that had a max damage of nearly 3k. Our weapons had a max damage of like 800. So it was ridiculous how powerful they were. That was all in
Crazy.
there, just lying down, just chilling.
Olan and Kyo, they were my mates at SMB.
I mean, they brought me along, and I remember I could actually help in Elder fights, you see, because I was one of the only pikemen, as I've said earlier, that could fight them. Ah, now that's one that I eventually soloed. Well, not solo, but I had to hang on for ages fighting this thing. I think that's the one, actually. Just bear with me, folks. Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. Sorry, that was 2 different Night Sister encounters. Now you can see when Jay was with me, we were fighting Olaps, a Night Sister Elder. But this was the solo one. Now you can see Jay's dead somewhere, as is Kyo. This thing killed us pretty quick, but this was the one that I eventually managed to kill on my own. First pikeman to do so. There's Sake again. Oh, have I started off again? Oh no, I haven't done it yet. More Jedi's dead. Sake again for the 4th time. Ricine, he was a good one. Jocelyn was a good jeweler. Wasn't a Jedi, but a very good jeweler. We had a good fight. Big spider spawning right on top of me. Me hiding under a desk. I don't know why I've got that. Don't know them. Ah, this was that encounter I told you about, folks. Look, this is when three SMB scumbags attacked Sunfall. You can see we've just taken out Byron. We just take out Kaio. That's just me and Griffin. With Katuro, who isn't even buffed either. So basically, it was 3 unbuffed people against 3 fully buffed Jedi.
Well, that was random that them guys came along.
Yeah, there was Amrix here. Amrix was the problem, though. And admittedly, we gave chase to Amrix, but he got away. Give him fair play. We still nailed 2 of his lot. But, it was just too fast. Now, that was me being an idiot. I actually wandered into Ang's town. And I got ganked. Basically, we went the wrong way. That's a true story. Luthus, another Jedi I fought. He gets really angry. He's like, no point in dueling. Fighting 60% defense stackers isn't really a duel, is it? When you're built for PvP, mate, it is. Alright, now, because you can actually have a shield generator, a personal one, like in the Dark Forces games, I actually had something that resisted lightsabers by 25%, which was useful, but it wasn't really game-breaking. I think have we gone back? No, we haven't gone back just yet. Now this was the time when I got ganked outside Sunfall. This was one of the successful attacks that SMB had on us, with a bit of help.
Oh, I'm there as well, but look, I'm in SMB.
Oh, you are actually, yeah.
Propagandist.
That was my ult at that time. Tarash, SMB. Now this was a funny one. Jay goes, oh my god, there's one person in our guild you'll never beat in a duel. Tarash, they're amazing. And what do I go and do? We arrange a duel. She fought hard, but I won in the end.
She probably did better than most, in fairness.
The only one who I've ever actually been scared of, in a sense, is Amrix. Always Amrix. Amrix, to me, is easily the best dueler I've ever seen.
I'm pretty sure Tarash was like the guild leader of SMB.
She was.
I didn't know that side very well, because there were like groups within the guild, really.
Here's the Mandalorians, Jay. You're on about?
Aha, the Mandalorian.
That was us fighting Deathwatch ghosts. Artie Boom, an old friend of mine. Don't know what happened to him. Just bear with me, I'm just having to reply to something.
Your ping's improved, it's 66 there.
Me killing Artie Boom. Over a star. That's just kind of a funny thing. Me and Irva, basically we were both leveling up ranged abilities just for a laugh. And basically we stood there for 2 hours trying to kill each other, but because we had such high defense we couldn't hit each other, which is kind of weird. That was the Corellian Corvette semi-instanced type thing. That was.
I think we could do the Corellian Corvette quite easily.
It was tough, but it wasn't as hard as some.
The Deathwatch bunker was just impossible.
That's cool, because you can see all the duels going on there, which is interesting. Interestingly, Mavericks Kal-El, he was the Guildmaster of Sunfall. Again, me fighting Malachi, people always ask me to tank it. Another Jedi that was Yun, who I took out. Lighters, who I took out. Lighters again.
Lighters, I remember lighters.
That was some PvP on Tatooine. I don't remember what it was, but I can remember me shouting for Sunfall, and then they all shouted for Richai, which was kind of funny. I think we're going back on ourselves a little bit here because we've seen these images. These are all the Jedi kills I got. We could actually be going around in circles here because I looked at these before.
Yeah, we've just passed the start.
I don't think we have. It's slightly different. The only thing, it seems like we're going around in a circle though because we're back on the Jedi images, and that's true. But I've got 2 sets of those, so I've got separate ones naming the Jedis and the actual original, originals.
Okay.
There we go, new ones. We have me attacking another Imperial base. Me getting annoyed with stormtroopers. That's kind of a funny image.
SWG.
That was the inside of the Sunfall Tavern. Cantina, sorry. Sunfall Rebels Guild Hall. That was my final one there. An overconfident Rhodium Pikeman. Now that gear I'm wearing there was some of my last clothes that I had. Now the reason I went for clothes over like full armour is because as a Terrascassi Master, you automatically had certain protection from physical damage built into you because you're like one with your inner force. And so if you actually wore clothes, you could actually have add-ons to those clothes that would, like, for example, you couldn't put these on armour, but you could have like plus 10% melee damage or plus 10% melee speed, you know? I can't think what they were called. Clothing attachments, does that sound right, Jay?
Yeah, that's it. Clothing attachments. They had like different abilities.
That's another Jedi. Not that interesting. Veteran Sith Hunter, one of the rarest mobs you can find. That's boring. Oh, Shepherd. That's one we didn't go through. Shepherd was a good fighter.
Ah, Shepherd.
That was the original owner as well before he got sold. And that's when that was when he was a good player. We definitely get into the... Oh, this was just a funny image. This was one that was going on the forums for a while. Basically real life in SWG form. It's like kids are now online. Accountant. So you can see here he's learning Accountancy 1 and target dishes. And if you haven't played SWG, you wouldn't really get that joke, but it is kind of funny. Now that isn't the best power hammer ever, but that was a really good one with an 800, nearly 900 top damage. Banker's hammer, which I got hit with multiple times.
8k, I think.
I think it was.
I think it was like bugged and had an extra 0 on the end.
They got it from a rare drop, and he was on the Imperial side. That hammer went through so many different owners, and whoever had it was obviously an absolute powerhouse in melee. The thing is, when people realised who had it, they were instantly ganked. So it was useful, but you'd also die pretty quick when people know who had it. That was the issue.
You could like share it though, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could give it to somebody else.
I'm pretty sure it just got passed around.
Because what you could get is you could get an anti-decay kit, where if you put that on it, it'd mean it'd never take damage, so you'd never have to worry about repairing it. Oh yeah, that was something about 2. This is a wedding in-game. Again, role-playing. I was not getting married, I was just like watching. But this is on our guild. I think, yeah, and there we go. Back round to the start, folks.
Well, what an epic talk.
Phew, I did most of the talking there, but Jay can back up pretty much everything that I said.
I can, yeah. My biggest regret is I haven't got the photos that I took. I mean, I took so many.
Now, if you bear with me, folks.
What an epic story. I want to go back to this game so badly.
Now, bear with me.
Me and Necro have always said if we ever get...
Now, have a look at that. This was like a... This is when I had Fraps like 10 years ago when it was in its early infancy. This was the inside of my actual main base, main house, sorry. That was the entryway. And this was how I decorated it back then. Now this footage is going to end in 1 sec, but I've got one other video. And this is all that I've got left from these days. That was my house, and I think even Jay will agree, that was pretty cool and well designed.
Very lovely.
But alas, those days have passed. And, well, I hope you enjoyed this bit of reminiscing. Something a bit different this, isn't it, Jay?
It's something we've wanted to do for ages. I mean, Necro's the only one with the photos, with the screenshots and stuff, so I haven't got any, unfortunately. Which is a darn shame, but we did so much so many missions and stuff together. I mean, back in the day, we could just go off and like when we started hunting them Kimagile things or whatever they're called.
The thing is, you made your own adventures, basically, and every day was different, and
I mean, I personally had many all-nighters just playing on this game.
I know. I mean, there's there's probably other stories that we haven't told you about, but I mean, the story of me and Jay is the last thing that I'll tell before I end this. But we did actually become enemies in game because he joined Imperials, I joined Sunfall, and I don't regret it at all. With Sunfall, I'd made, I spent a lot of time with him, not just in SWG but in WoW as well. And I can remember because me and Jay created two characters with the RK at the end of the name, like Rhodian Knights from our Jedi Knight Academy days. It was whenever we could see each other in PvP, it was almost like we made a beeline for each other. If we knew the other one was there fighting, it was like, this is personal. I think you'll probably agree with that, Jay.
Absolutely. We just used to go for each other. The story of us, basically, we were brothers from the
Yeah,
beginning,
that was the role-playing aspect of it coming out.
and then we went on separate paths. I went to the dark side, Necroscope to the light side. It was all out war.
And whenever we saw each other, we literally went to town.
I mean, on many, that's why like me and like my Jedi friends and stuff used to just go to Sunfall.
I mean, Sunfall it wasn't really a PvP. Well, it wasn't actually. I'm lying all through my teeth there. It wasn't a PvP guild at all. It just happened to have a core group of PvPers, if you know what I mean.
And it helped because it was on a flat land.
It was some
It was
massive battles there. The other thing that got me a bit about, I think that got me a little bit about Star Wars Galaxies, and it literally is only a very little thing. You know the faction rewards, Jay? Do you know when you could
Yeah.
like get an asset if you were Imperial?
Yeah.
There was nothing the equivalent of an asset on Rebel side. All you could get is like rubbishy little NPCs that could like get two-hitted. The asset was an actual problem. It could two-hit players. Rebels never had that, but I suppose it does feed into that idea that the Rebels weren't as well equipped as the Imperials. So, I don't know. It was a tough one, that.
I think the rebels had more numbers. A lot of people.
Yeah, you could be right there, actually. You could be right.
I don't know what it was that made people. The Imperials were in the minority, definitely.
Yeah, I think, well, it's obvious because everyone wants to be a hero, don't they? But I think you're saying that, but the Imperials still had a very strong following.
No, they did, but a lot of the like certain guilds, Imperial guilds, only came on at certain times because they were land guilds,
Yeah, true. No, I can
and that was
understand that.
like the core players from Ang and Goss and KDS back in the day only came on at a certain time.
No, you're right. You're right.
Whereas Sunfall was more casual, Jedi Council was more casual, RDE was a rebel PvP
It
guild.
was. As was
That was
Easy, I believe. EZ. What I have got, folks, that I can never upload, but I am really happy that I've got them, is I've actually got 3 videos of actual footage from the game that were promotional videos for Sunfall. The reason that I'm one for a guild called Reliance, all rebel guilds, and I've got 3 videos that I'd love to upload. The problem is, 1, they've got copyrighted songs on, and 2, I don't know the original people who made them, so I don't really want to be uploading them without their permission. So I could show you more, folks, but it's just not worth getting a flag, basically, on my account for. Well, believe it or not, Jay, we've been talking for a long, long time.
well.
So, I was the Necroscope,
I've been JPlay85.
and Sony, LucasArts, who have now been disbanded, Disney, if you remake SWG how it used to be, and yes, I know people will very quickly say there are backwards compatible servers that have been reverse engineered, but they just do not have the support that the actual servers would need for me to come back, because it's still very buggy. They still haven't got it fully working. They're making great bounds, great steps, and it's very impressive. But Disney, if you ever bring this game back in this exact form, with range classes balanced at this point in its development,
And possibly a few less bugs.
a few less bugs, I would love you forever. So I was the Necroscope.
I've been JPlay85.
I'm going to say, JPlay. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye for now.